Hey, Will, we're back. Another Saturday.
Another Saturday. It's gonna
Talk
be
a
a
little,
beautiful.
fast and loud. Jay Leno's and some fast times and some football.
All right.
So Monday on Fast and Loud, they built a '52 Chevy, um, which to me it's those cars can be cool. Most of the time you see them with like a chopped top and they're like slammed on
Yeah.
the ground.
Yeah. I love them.
Um, but they decided to do like an old school NASCAR racer, which is pretty wild because it's got like the NASCAR like style tires and like period correct like the wheels, and they beefed up the motor and put a manual transmission in it and took it dirt track racing, which is what NASCAR ran on back then. They actually didn't have paved racetracks. Most of them were dirt, if not all. But yeah, it was cool. And it was the reason that they did it was a theme deal because Richard purchased part of a NASCAR race team, and he might even be the primary sponsor on it. They had Gas Monkey all over the car, and I'm trying to remember the driver's name. LaJoy? I think it's LaJoy. But anyways, they got in the race, and in typical Richard fashion, the car broke and had to return to the pits. So he was hoping for like a win or a top you know tier finish and to show off the brand. And here's Gas Monkey to kick ass in NASCAR. And
Well, why didn't the car finish? Was it
they
the
had a
best?
problem with the fuel cell or something, and they
Oh,
had to go in. They weren't allowed to continue. So that always seems to happen to him when he first got into the funny car drag racing, like Top Fuel. His cars never like for like the first three races it either failed or ran really slow in comparison to what it should, and it does pretty well now. But he's got a few drag racing teams, and now he's in NASCAR and he's in Monster Jam. He's got his own monster truck. So that's pretty cool that they're expanding into motorsport. That's awesome.
he's got his money making money.
Yeah, he's between the restaurants and Gas Monkey itself, and then the merchandise and clothing sales. Because pretty much when they start showing up in Walmart, you're making a lot of money selling T-shirts even. So yeah, he's everywhere. He's everywhere, and he apparently owns some side businesses too with his now ex-wife that make money. So big in the Dallas area, I guess. But yeah, he's getting global. He was packing up a bunch of cars and going to an auction overseas now, so
Wow.
he's moving to be a global brand. That's pretty nuts. But yeah, still no real updates on that Buick though. I mean, that's the the big tease at the beginning of the season is that they're doing this boat tail Buick and it's going to be extreme custom with 1,000 horsepower. Still nothing. So hopefully this Monday we get an update on the Buick because
Yeah.
one of my favorite shows is coming back, and it's either Monday or is it the following Monday? Um, Street Outlaws Memphis. Um, that's JJ DeBoss.
Where can you catch that on?
It's on Discovery, same as Fast and Loud,
Okay.
and it's on Monday nights as well. And then Jay Leno's is still going on Wednesday nights on the
CNBC.
CNBC. Yeah, stupid. But
The news channel.
yeah, yeah, it's so dumb. But yeah, it's just dumb. But I don't know. It's pretty cool. If you've never watched Street Outlaws Memphis, it's really worth it. JJ DeBoss is as cooler than anybody on the normal Street Outlaws. So, um, very interesting group.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
He, as a young man, he was a drug dealer, and he went to prison for a while. And he came out, went straight, and got a garage and started street racing and hustling, and now he makes a nice living doing that and has a shop.
Yeah.
And a show. But interesting guy. So then,
Now, did he have a knowledge of cars before he was in trouble, or did he gain that while he was in trouble?
he was into street racing and stuff before he ever went to prison, and he was a pretty major drug dealer in Memphis back in the day, and he had like lots and lots of money, like cars and houses and boats, and yeah, he was loaded, and he was loaded enough to get busted by the FBI in a sting, not like local PD caught him dealing on a corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went to jail for a long time.
Yeah, well.
But it straightened him out.
And a hobby became a dream.
Yeah, yeah. He took his what was his for fun thing and turned it into his main thing. You know, imagine that. Some of us would like to do that as well. I don't want to go to prison though for.
No, we don't need those
prevail.
life lessons. I think we understand the consequences of actions.
Yeah, I'm good on that stuff. I just want to have fun playing with some cars and maybe involve some friends. That'd be nice. Yeah, but and then Jay Leno's garage was Wednesday. You had Tim Allen on there, and they were dinking around in all kinds of like. They had some off the wall classic cars. Like a Pinto, they had a Pacer, they had just a bunch of different things like that. And then Jake dared Tim to race him. Tim was in like a 65, 66 GTO, and Jay was driving a Nissan generic sedan, whatever their, I don't know, bigger sedan is. And Jay beat him in the quarter with his... So I think it's a 6-speed V6. It might even have a turbo. I don't know. But at any rate, I mean, he beat him pretty handily. And, it's one of those things. Tim acted shocked. But, I mean, this has been a kind of a known thing for a while. Those classic muscle cars in stock trim and stock tires and stock everything would run a 15-second quarter. That's what most of them ran. And the really fast ones would be in the 13s or 14s. But for instance, a V6 Mustang from like 2011 and up can run a high 13, low 14 second quarter, which means that Mustang, which would be your base model that you can get used now for like $8,000, will outrun most classic muscle cars. Just how it is. But it's not all about being faster.
Because they suck. Because they suck. And
exactly.
Here's, I don't know. If you love muscle cars, then it's not about the speed. It's not about winning the quarter. It's something else.
Right. The cars have soul, and there's a connection you have with the car, and it engages all of your senses. Your sight, the sound, the smell, the feel. Yeah. All of your senses are engaged with a classic muscle car, or even a modern muscle car. You get these generic sedans, yeah, they're quick, they get good mileage, they're good cars. They just have no soul. And they take a little of yours when you drive them. It's just how it is. That's when people get excited about Teslas and the new Porsche Taycan electric and the Chevy Volt and, things like that. They're fast. They're ridiculously fast. And it is kind of neat that, they got a car there that can run on a battery a certain distance or whatever.
Yeah.
But they don't have a soul. Those cars suck.
Oh, well, I tell you what, I'd take one for free. but that's about it. If they want to give
Well,
me one to help out the environment and stuff, then I'd take it. Sure.
here's the thing. Because this is what Tesla's trying to do, and Fisker Carmo's trying to do it, the Porsche Taycan's trying to do it. They want to make the electric car cool. It's kind of like the trickle-down effect of having a car like a Corvette ZR1.
Oh yeah.
Chevy makes the Corvette ZR1 so that you think Chevy's cool. That's the real reason. You know, they make a Camaro ZL1 so that you think Chevy is cool. Ford makes a Mustang and a Ford GT so that you think Ford is cool. That's the real reason that those cars exist. And so the thing of it is, Tesla and the Porsche Taycan, they're trying to make you think that electric cars are cool, and they're not. That doesn't mean they're not good.
Yeah.
It just means they're not cool. That's all. And here's the thing. I don't need it to be cool. If you could have an electric vehicle that charged up in your garage overnight and you took it wherever you needed to during the day, and it could self-drive and it was like the size of a minivan, oh, I understand that completely, and I'm on board with it. I don't need a sports car that does that. That's the family truckster. That's what I want that does that.
Together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be even better if I could send it by itself to Walmart and have them load it up and send it back.
Yeah.
No, if I want to drive something, I don't want to drive that crap. I want to drive, something that excites me.
Yeah, something we can control a little bit and feel it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't drive very far to work because I live near my work, but still, I go out in the morning and fire up the Cutlass. That's great. It's an instant day brightener.
Yep.
It's because it's more than just a commute car. I'm excited to get in it and drive.
Well, sometimes I think about traveling in history, and I think about people that picked out what they were traveling in, whether it was a horse or a carriage or a boat. The really awesome ones, the really good horses, the really fast. Those were the best, and it was all about how good your horse was, or how good your mode of transportation was, or how it fit you. Well, these cars, for people like us, they fit us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and they have character, real character, and it's more than just in a look. Because for me, the Tesla is not that good looking of a car to begin with. It's okay. Like the Porsche Taycan, it's okay. They're not, to me, they're not great looking cars. Because if you change the front end a little bit, you change the rear end a little bit, it could be a Camry, it could be a Nissan, it could be a Taurus, it could be, what I mean? They're all basically the same. So
they all look the same.
They do. They have the same basic shape with a little bit different front and rear end, but they're all basically the same car. That's the truth.
They're just popping out clones.
And it always cracked me up when on Top Gear, when you'd have the British guys on there and they're like, they're knocking on the interior and they're like, this is cheap hard plastic. I'm like, who the hell knocks on the plastic of their car? And they're like, this plastic has soft touch and so it's much higher quality. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
And they're like, Americans just don't build them this way. I'm like, because we don't care about that. If it was dependent on sales for Chevy and Ford and Dodge to sell their cars with soft plastics, they would 100% do it. But they know we don't really care.
No.
If we want a luxurious interior, we expect it to be wrapped in leather. Yeah. Because that's what a luxury interior is to Americans. Leather.
Camel skin.
Right. Suede. Yeah. We're not worried about soft touch plastic. That's and they do it now. But to me, that was never like a game changer. Like, oh my god,
no!
Now my plastic is soft. My life has changed.
Yeah.
It's.
Nope, it was all about the wood grain and leather.
Right, and metal, real metal on your trim.
Real steel.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But I don't know. I don't get into that kind of crap. But the cars themselves that have a history, and like I said, the look and the feel and the smell and the sound, that's just You don't get that in these other things. And so I don't need them to try to be that. What I want is the Durango-ish car that's electric and all-wheel drive and, mostly drives itself or halfway drives itself or whatever the level of driving mode these things have now. But
Yeah.
that's the one I want for that. When I got to go to, like, Milwaukee or, where it's not going to be a fun drive, and you got, everybody in, your luggage is loaded up, everything's, then I'm good. Yeah, give me an electric car that drives itself. Awesome. But when I'm going for a cruise or I'm going to a car show or I'm going to do stuff, I don't want a stupid car like that.
Oh.
It will ruin the whole experience.
Oh, well, today in particular was a beautiful day.
Yeah,
it was nice and warm and sunny, so the IROC came out. And,
nice.
And yeah.
I've still got mine out. I drove my Cutlass 3 or 4 times to work last week, and Jules is still driving the Mustang. We still got them out.
Yeah.
It ain't snowing yet. And I will drive them right up until it's in the forecast, and then I'll put them away. It's just how it goes. It's going to be a bummer when I have to, but, but you have to.
Yeah.
So, all right, that brings us to Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Fast Times.
Well, and I told you right before we started, I was thinking back on it because this is what I always do when we pick a movie and we're gonna watch it. I always think, okay, where was I? When was it that I first saw this? And for this movie in particular, it was you. I had never seen it before, and this would have been mid to late '90s. I think you had it on VHS, and you're the one who showed me this movie.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
I was exploring cinema at the time, and I had no idea because this movie was obviously, it's just a couple of years before I was even born it came out. But what an excellent show, coming of age film with cars and good characters.
Yeah,
funny. Yeah.
Who's your favorite character, or do you have one? I have a favorite character.
Charles Jefferson.
Who?
Charles Jefferson.
Forrest Whitaker.
Yes. Mad
the
dog.
scenes when he was going nuts in that football game are just awesome because he's not even talking. Awesome. He's just going, ah, the whole time.
And he had those guys busted up, twitching on the ground. It was great.
My favorite character is Judge Reinhold because he really goes through it. Because I think he's a senior, isn't he?
Yeah. He's about to finish high school, yeah.
He's going to finish high school, so he wants to break up with his girlfriend, but then he doesn't, and she does want to break up with him, and so then he loses his job. Then he gets caught, flogging the dolphin. Gets horribly embarrassed.
Embarrassing.
But then ultimately helps his sister out when she gets in a jam. So he had the cool character arc for me. And plus, I really like him as an actor. That was my favorite was Judge because he has a cool name, I guess.
I would say Jeff Spicoli, but that's not my favorite Sean Penn role. It's a cool character, and he got to drive the awesome car.
Right. The coolest parts to me about Jeff Spicoli are the other people he interacts with and how they react to him. He's good. Yeah. And Sean Penn's an amazing actor, but the best parts are the teacher, Mr. Hand, and how Mr. Hand is dealing with him. That's the best. I think you know where the front office is. I love when he sends him off. He's like, does anybody know where Jeff Spicoli is? And he's like, yeah, I seen him down by the vending machines before class. Yeah. So he has him go get him, and he comes in and he's like, hey, there's no party for me in here.
Yeah, there's no birthday party in here for me.
And just the look on the kid's face when he walks back in with him, you can tell he's just like, well, here he is. And I think that's funny because I think everybody knows somebody who was like that in school. I know some.
But it was the end of an era.
Yeah.
those kind of movies and stuff, that was the end of an era of like free will in school.
Right.
Where things were a little bit different, and the way that teachers and students interacted and how they treated each other. You
Right.
know,
It was written by Cameron Crowe, and he went undercover in a San Diego high school, and his experiences while he was undercover was the book he wrote, Fast Times at
yeah,
Ridgemont High. That's crazy.
it's crazy.
It's
But
crazy
those
because
are
of what
big schools, and those
right.
aren't like
Well, so my question is, how old was he? And what
yeah,
parts are
20%.
based on things that he did? Because
Yeah,
there's some
well, I
questionable
think
things that happen in that movie.
yeah.
It's like, what were you doing? But yeah, it's just good. The Z28 when they wreck it, as cool as that is, the cool person in that scene, even as Spicoli is driving the whole thing, of course, but it's Forrest Whitaker's little brother.
Yeah, Jefferson's little brother.
Yeah, he's like, oh my god, my brother's gonna shit. My brother's gonna kill us. Oh, make up your mind, man.
But the scenes where he was pulling, like I took the first time I watched it where he's got his joint lit, and he's smoking, and he's like pushing traffic out of the way with that car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I loved it. They had some good stunts in that. That was pretty cool. That was a
Yeah,
good driving scene. Yeah.
yeah, that was it was awesome. And then if you're paying close attention, you'll see a young Anthony Edwards, a young Nicolas
Yeah.
Cage,
Yeah.
a young
Oh,
Eric Stoltz. Yeah,
yeah. They're all
there's a
there.
bunch of people in it,
Yeah.
and that assholeless pizza delivery guy. That's the pizza delivery guy in
The
like
pizza
every
dude.
'80s comedy. Yeah,
He's the pizza dude, and like more than a dozen films. It's like it became a weird thing
yeah.
where he
And he
was
has
just
the
the
same
pizza guy.
look on his face and the same
Yeah.
like disdain for humanity.
Yeah, like he hates everybody. Yeah. Awesome
Oh,
movie. That's a classic. That one I really love that movie.
yeah, me too.
Fun.
Good one, and I hadn't watched it in quite a while, and so it was really fun to watch it again because I hadn't seen it in a long time.
Now,
But
hey, what was Mike Damone driving? What was that? Was that a
ooh,
Chevelle or a Chevette or a Pinto? What was that little hatchback he had? The brown one that they wrote prick on.
I think that's a Chevette.
Is it Chevette?
I think so. Let me check real quick
Sure.
because that. Uh, well, and he was the other one that had like all the cool quotes.
Yeah, he had some awesome ones. He was a big
Um,
salesman.
yes.
Yeah, like a used car salesman.
Oh, wait a minute. That was a. Is that a Gremlin or a
Yeah.
Pacer? Good God, you can get T-shirts of it with prick on the side.
No thanks.
That's funny. Yeah, is that a Gremlin? Yeah, it's a Gremlin. It's like Wayne's World, except it was dark green, and that one was light blue.
And he got prick on the side because he didn't help his girlfriend get an abortion.
Right.
He
That's
chickened out and weaseled out like a little prick.
well, he said he would, and then he didn't show up. That was
Yeah.
the thing, and then Judge
Which
Reinhold took
it
her.
did show in the movie that he couldn't, he tried to come up with the money and he couldn't come up with it. So I think it was shame. It was embarrassment and shame that he didn't show up, not that he didn't care. That's what I think.
Right, right. He was hiding from her at that point because he failed to come up with the money to take care of
Yeah.
it, like he said.
He failed to be a man
Which yeah.
at that time.
I refer back to the Sticks and Stones stand up with That is how I feel about that. um, yeah, but yeah, he had some cool lines. He was the worst wingman of all time, right? Because he's trying to help his buddy hook up with Stacy, and he ends up sleeping with her.
Yeah, like a little turd. But I love the quote that when he's talking about that you have to love wherever you are, like it's a great time.
Right, you walk in and you look around and go, "Isn't this great?"
Yeah, it's been hard to apply that to my life, but I try. I try sometimes.
Yeah, it's it is tough, but yeah, there's so much quotable from that movie, and I'm forgetting so many things. But I think Judge Reinhold, he says at one point, "Only 3 more payments, boys, and this beautiful blue 4-door sedan is all mine." And it's like this ugly 1960 Buick 4-door or whatever, wagon or whatever it was.
Station wagon, yeah, shaggin' wagon. Those things are quite the vehicle.
Yeah, it's cool, but you got to remember this is 1980 or whatever,
Yeah,
82. It was not cool in 1982. That would be like well, the thing, some of that stuff is coming back around. Like if you have a 92 or 93 Chevy Caprice wagon, people kind of like those now. So
people driving around Petoskey, yeah,
yeah.
good.
Dax Shepard has one that's all souped up with like a supercharger. It's got like 700 horsepower.
Well, the Caprice that's not hard to do because of the Caprice was a cop car, right?
Yeah, you get a Chevy 350 in it, the LT1. So
Yeah,
yeah, you can beef those up pretty easily.
nice.
But yeah, I really like that movie.
It's a good one.
I had a good time with it. I'll be posting up my written review on the website and the articles section probably tomorrow, but I do have it finished. Next week, I want to review Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. It's a heist movie. It's got a '69 Dodge Charger. It's got some crazy chase scenes from an overzealous police force. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, at some point we're gonna have to watch Bullet.
We will, and I almost went there. But I want to see. I have some a little bit more obscure ones. There's and I'll just tell you because we're gonna do Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. I want to do that. But then I want to do well, it'll be your turn to pick, but when it's my turn again, I want to do either Grand Theft Auto or Eat My Dust, and those are 2 very, very early Ron Howard movies.
Okay.
And they're car movies, so
yeah.
I'll warn you,
well, and you can tell
they're not great.
But they're early on.
Well, and this is the age of the drive-in, right? I mean, there's so many movies that came out then that they shot really quick on a low budget and just threw them in the drive-in because people were going. That was the thing. There was no cable TV, so no one was staying home at night and watching, the 3 networks that came in. They would go to the drive-in, so they pump movies out like crazy. And there's some really neat ones.
So what are they called again?
One of them is called Grand Theft Auto, and the other one is called Eat My Dust, and they're both Ron Howard. And he's very young, and I think it was his first directorial effort for Grand Theft Auto. I think. So I think that's how they got him to come back for American Graffiti 2, because he didn't want to do it. But yeah, you'll see. But Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry's up first. Excellent movie. Peter Fonda. Oh, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let's talk some football. So how do you feel about the Lions game last week against the Chargers?
I think that offenses still are kind of sputtering right now in the NFL.
Yeah.
Because nobody's playing their starters anymore in the preseason, so everybody's kind of they're not game ready for real. So it was hit and miss, but the defense played well, and Stafford came through in the clutch even after he didn't have such a great game. So whatever anybody wants to say, we got the win, and
Right.
it was against the Chargers, and they were only missing the same amount of guys and the same amount of important players as we were. So to me, it was a good win.
Detroit's
Total.
highly ranked in number of passes for over 26 yards.
Yeah.
They might lead the NFL in that. If not, they're very close to.
Well, as long as Galladay and Marvin Jones and our new tight end Hawkinson stays healthy, it's going to stay that way because that's how good Stafford is. People don't really realize this, but there's very few. I mean, you're talking about 10 quarterbacks in the whole NFL that have the arm strength that Stafford has.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
That's a maybe.
Yeah, and then you've seen. Well, we'll stick with that game before we get to that, but yeah, I kind of felt that way. And Stafford threw 2 picks. They weren't completely his fault. There was issues there, but they were drive killers. The Chargers fumbled. There was a lot going on. Like you said, it was sloppy play.
Touchdown, that long deep ball that he had he was up 1-on-1 against
he
a
had
guy
2.
6 inches shorter than him.
Yeah, he had 2 called back with penalties. That 2
that
touchdowns.
touchdown throw, though, or what should have been a touchdown to me, if it was Calvin Johnson, it would have been a touchdown.
Right.
And,
wow.
5'10" guy's going to knock the ball away.
Right. Right. But they are seemingly still committed to running the football. They didn't do well. I think one guy had 40 yards, another guy had like 25 yards. So they're not lighting the world on fire with their running game. But it's good that they're at least sticking to it.
I want to know what's going on with Kerryon Johnson.
I don't know.
That's what I want to know is what I'm all for the if one back is a really great quick first step receiving back, then you put him in on third downs. And if you got a good power back, he's got short yardage. And then if you got an all-around back, like I believe Kerryon Johnson is, he could be in on every down.
Right. That's the problem. I agree with you. I think Kerryon should be the back. There shouldn't be another back. If they're running the ball 25 times a game, he should get the majority of those. Yeah, and like you said, in short yardage, they have a fullback. So you could have that's your short yardage back should be your fullback. He's the biggest, strongest guy.
Well, and I don't understand. I don't understand why that running backs. I mean, there's a few running backs in the league right now that'll get that 25, sometimes 30 carries in a game, depending on how they're running the ball. Right. But they've totally switched over to where you're getting maybe 14, 15 carries in one game.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me either. But again, to me, it's you are a pass first offense. As long as you understand that and you have that mentality going in, that your intent is to dominate the game with your passing offense, but you want to supplement that with a quality running game. You know what I mean? If you're the Minnesota Vikings back, 10 years ago, you had AP and you had a mediocre quarterback. So your goal was to dominate the game with your superior running offense and then supplement that with a passing game.
Their defense was always in the top, so it was easy for them to win a game where it was like 7-0.
Right. Oh. It's just it's annoying, that we're still hearing the, we're going to be a run first. No, you're not. You're never going to be a run first. Really. Not with Stafford as your quarterback.
If you've got like Ezekiel Elliott or Todd Gurley or something like that, then you be a run first team.
Darn right. Yeah. But that's not, Kerryon hasn't shown himself to be that yet. He's shown flashes of being a very good running back, but he hasn't put it all together yet either. Now he got hurt, so we'll see if he can stay healthy all season and continues to develop. He could be that guy.
Well, I mean, I want to see 1,000 yards.
Right.
I don't think that's too much to ask. If you say you're a running team, I want to see one back with 1,000 yards and at least 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
At least.
Well, and I think they are kind of going all in on carry on because they cut C.J. Anderson this week.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, he's gone.
Wow.
They just straight up released him, and I get it because he's too expensive to have as a short yardage sometimes back.
Yeah, but he's not though. I mean, you've seen in that first game against Arizona when they were having when Kerryon Johnson wasn't getting the ball out and he was having 10, 12-yard runs.
Right.
At least a couple of times. So to me that's a mistake. That's I mean unless the dude really wanted out, that was a dumb move.
I don't think he wanted out. I think they've decided to pick a direction. And it's clear that they're picking Carry-On, that he's going to be the guy this season.
Yeah. And he should be the guy. C.J. Anderson was just a guy to spell because you don't know if Kerryon Johnson's going to be there all year.
Right.
Guarantee that.
Yeah, I don't know. But he got his release over the phone.
Ty Johnson looks good, that rookie.
Well, and that's what happened. Apparently in practice, Ty Johnson beat C.J. Anderson out for the second spot. And C.J. was going to third string, and they decided they weren't going to keep him as a third string back.
Well, I don't know. So sometimes I wonder because you do take stress if you've got a quarterback-led team like the Green Bay Packers have.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had a real running game like that, not something that's a real 1,000-yard gainer. So you've got to build on that offensive line. You've got to protect Stafford.
Right.
And if he's the guy on the team and you're going to leave it to one running back and a couple wide receivers, then you better protect him.
Yeah. If I was Green Bay, I would totally go after C.J. Anderson. The dude has been successful every time he's been given an opportunity.
Every time he's been able to run the ball, he's been successful, and he's not super fast, and he's not in great shape, but the guy can take punishment.
Right.
And he runs straight forward.
He's reliable. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen there, but tomorrow's a bigger test. So Arizona should have been the easy team, and it looked easy for 3 quarters. And then they fell apart. But then they went up against a much tougher team in the San Diego Chargers, and they whoop them, but they beat them. And then now you're taking another step up. The Eagles are even better than the Chargers.
Well, and here I'm not completely sold on Carson Wentz. I know he's an athletic quarterback, but the last 2 years we've seen him go down.
Yeah.
And when you go down and you get injuries like that, where you're hurt bad for a whole year, like I've had a few sports injuries that were pretty bad, but nothing like that. So I think that it comes into question to me whether or not Carson Wentz is as good anymore as he once was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. So Philadelphia hasn't sold me on nothing. I don't know why they give them a 65% chance to win. They've got a decent defense, not a great one.
I think Detroit has the better defense. And Philadelphia has some key injuries, too, that's going to hamper them. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Gerard Davis is still out, I think. But
yeah,
it'll be interesting. I think, like you said, the offense is still kind of finding itself. But to me right now, I'm all in on Hockenson. I think he's your big guy. He's huge. He's fast. He blocks well. So he's not giving plays away. Him and Jesse James both block, both catch, they do everything. So
who have we seen since Calvin Johnson retired who comes out in their very first pro game and goes over 100 yards and scores a touchdown?
He set the record.
Yeah, so you go all in on that guy. That's the guy.
Yep.
Everybody else is, you can, and there's still, maybe Marvin Jones will flash this next game. I'm hoping so. I
mean, come on, the receiving court, you have Marvin Jones Jr., you've got Kenny Galladay, you have Danny Amendola, and you've got Hockenson, this young phenom that's coming up, and then you've got Jesse James when you're running your 2 tight end sets. That's killer. That's a killer lineup.
Yeah. That's a killer lineup, and our offensive line has been playing pretty good. Yeah. I'm pretty impressed with Decker, considering the complaints that have been about him.
Well,
But
he
there's
didn't
a
play
reason why
last
we
game.
drafted him.
He was
Yeah,
out versus the Chargers. That was his backup.
yeah, that's right, Crosby.
Yep.
That's right.
And he played well.
He was. Yeah, he did play well.
Decker says he has. Decker says the team says Decker has a nagging injury that's better, not better. I think it's a back injury,
Uh,
so that's why he's
but
struggling.
Crosby did play well against Ingram and Bosa.
Yeah,
You know, there. You know, it's funny. You watch some games and a guy like Joey Bosa, he wrecks game plans.
yeah.
I mean, if we could
Well,
have a guy like that on defense, just one, and that was supposed to be our Ziggy Ansah.
what they did smartly was they brought that tight end in to help. So Jesse
Yeah,
James and,
yeah,
Hokinson, they got in there and helped Crosby out on quite a few plays too with the blocking. So and
yeah,
Stafford's not one to hang on to the ball forever either. So it's not like you need to block him for 6 seconds or something. It's pretty quick,
yeah.
and he gets rid of it. So, and again, if you can continue to develop some kind of running game, and like I said, don't hammer something that's not working. There's only 16 games in a season, so you don't want to give up anything trying to make a statement running a football. You want to
No,
win. So fit it in where you can and try to surprise teams with it, but feature your passing game. That's where your money's at.
yeah. Because I mean, and it doesn't matter. I mean, sometimes you establish the running game because the passing game's working so well. To me nowadays, the way that the game's played, I mean, you can run play action passes off of decent runs, but most of the time people are throwing down the field.
Yeah.
They're playing, sometimes most of the time man coverage. So if you've got players that have that excellent talent, the speed, the length, then you're going downfield. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hopeful. I always am, I guess, but they seem to have a decently talented team, and in this slow start that every team is going through right now except the Patriots, um, they're keeping pace with everybody else, and like I said, beating the Chargers is a good win. That's a solid football team, and that was a quality win. And so we'll see versus the Eagles, because their season's not getting any easier. They've still got to play the Rams. They've still got to play the Chiefs. They've still got to play,
The
some killer
Vikings
teams.
play
Chicago, Green Bay, Minnesota. None of those are easy games.
so
So, you got
well,
to
I
bring your
think
lunch pail this season.
most of our schedule is compiled of playoff teams.
Yep.
There's not a whole lot of where like the Patriots they shut out the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Whoop de freaking do.
Right. But they
Make
beat
that
the
part
ever
of
living crap out of the Steelers.
Yeah,
But now, Steelers, they lost Ben Roethlisberger for the
I know
season.
that was big.
Yeah, and the Saints lost Drew Brees for 6 weeks at least.
But apparently though, Roethlisberger's injury they knew about before.
Yeah, it just got worse. He was
Playing
trying to
him
play with
this-
it as best he could, but it got
Yeah,
worse.
so
So
a guy like because he's older now. I
yeah,
mean he's won a couple Super Bowls, but as a quarterback and as far as being hit a lot, he's
yeah,
taken some punishment.
he has.
Yeah.
He has. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, he's still on a good football team, and I'm sure the drive to try to win one more is there. Because if he
Well,
wins one more, that puts him a little bit ahead of Eli and
yeah.
even Peyton only won two, so it gets him into some rarefied air if he gets that third. But
And
I don't know.
we talk about Roethlisberger because we like him. I
Yeah.
mean, here's a guy who came into the league. What was he? He was at the time, the youngest quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was amazing. And he still is a great quarterback. It's just that, you don't know if a team's ever going to be around a guy the same way again.
Well, with Roethlisberger, I mean, he has a strong arm, but what made him so good is that he's really hard to bring down, And even when you're hitting him, he can make an accurate throw.
Yeah, can still
And
throw the
that's
ball.
what, like, he could keep it going long enough to hit Hines Ward or hit,
Yeah,
Antonio Brown and make a
Plaxico
play.
Burress.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had some
So
good ones there.
it'll be interesting. But, watching the Packers play and watching Chicago play and watching Minnesota play, they're not scary teams.
No, there's no way Detroit should be. I
I'm
think
not
it's
saying
whoever.
Detroit should kill them, but I'm just saying they're not scary.
No,
It's
not scary teams. It's all you're designing a game plan against teams you play twice a year,
right,
each team.
right.
And we've been able to beat the Packers, so let's go.
So the blueprint is out on how to beat Trubisky or make Trubisky play quarterback and not be very good
Sit in the
or not
pocket.
be as good. So they better be able to follow that game plan and beat them.
Well,
'Cause-
they made a mistake too because they traded away a starting running back.
yeah, they did.
They kept a receiving running back, which doesn't matter. That's great, but he's not a running back. He's a receiving back.
Right.
Jordan Howard was their bell cow.
Yep. Yep.
That was a huge mistake. Dumb
Well, you
idea.
seen, is the Bills? The Bills are starting Frank Gore now because their little stud halfback's out for the rest of the season.
Yep.
So depending on how he does this year, he might pass Barry Sanders
Yeah, he might.
on the total yards. But
Which is unfortunate, but it's I guess if it's not a big deal to our guy, then
yeah, Barry doesn't care. So,
okay.
and it doesn't tarnish Barry's legacy, in my opinion.
It's all,
You
but
know,
it's
lots of
always-
guys are going to end up passing him over the years. It just is what it is. But he did what he wanted to do, and he did it the way he wanted to do it. Just
and he was tired of it at the end.
yeah,
It would have been different had things worked out differently. But I mean, for us Lions fans, these little records or whatever is all we got.
I know.
It's not like we have a Super Bowl ring to go on. We
Well,
got
and that's
Calvin
what kills
Johnson.
me about
He
Lions
was the
fans'
329
reaction.
receiving yards.
Yeah. Well, Calvin. Yeah. Well, and that's what kills me with Lions fans' reaction to Matt Stafford. The dude has several NFL records,
Yeah.
and he is clearly the best quarterback Detroit has had by miles.
Oh man, I don't even want to think about the one before him or the
Right.
one before that one.
Right.
Yeah, break.
Well, you've got to go back 50 years to have a quarterback of his caliber playing for Detroit, and even then, he's better than that guy.
Yeah.
So it's funny to me that there are so many Detroit fans that are just, he sucks, he's a stat hound, he's this, he's that. I'm like, no, what he does is his job.
Yeah. And
That's what he
more
does.
punishment. He takes more punishment than anybody else on the field for the Lions. Not for any NFL team,
Yeah.
but for the Lions, he's the guy that takes the most punishment.
Yep.
He gets beat up the most. So,
Well, people are acting like he's old because he's been in the league. I'm like, he's 30, 31.
yeah, he's just
Like
30 years old.
He's got 5 years to play.
And if
Relax.
if they don't watch it, we don't know what his future holds.
Right.
He may not want to stay, depending on how things go, because they keep. How could you deal with the coaching changes, the coordinator changes all the time?
Right.
Those are playbooks that are like, inches deep.
Well, you think about like a team that put together something that was pretty good and just didn't quite have enough because their quarterback wasn't good enough. And I'm talking about Chicago and Minnesota.
Yeah.
What if Stafford is Chicago's guy last year? Or Minnesota the year before that when they were a number one defense? You put Stafford on a team like that had a good running game. They
It's game changing.
it's huge.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at somebody who's got the Super Bowl formula like the Patriots.
Yeah.
Nothing runs. They don't run off of their running game. It's all passing.
Well, and that's what came up with Detroit cutting C.J. Anderson, is that his production in practice and certain things that they saw, they decided he wasn't as good as the other two that they have.
Yeah.
And so that's what they said. That's the Patriots' ruthlessness.
Yep.
That if you're not part of that winning
better.
formula, then you're done. They don't want you on the team. And that's kind of cruel, but that's how it works. That is the Patriot way.
Well, see,
So,
it's gotta be hard for a dude, and I'm talking about egos of any kind of athlete. When you get benched for somebody else when you've been successful.
well,
I
and
mean,
here's the
here's the
thing.
guy. He's been really successful and been on winning teams, and you're starting somebody younger over him. So
Right.
oh,
Well, in the article I read, he found out at a charity event for his charity that helps youth. And I forget if it's a certain disease that he's following that affect youth or just disadvantaged youth. But he was at his charity event on his day off, and he had one of the Detroit Free Press writers was there covering the event, and he found out right there.
oh man, no,
And
yeah,
so, yeah, he was in a suit, and it was a big deal, and they're having a good time, and then he gets that call.
you're getting and that it affects his payday and everything. Yeah, I don't know, man. I
It's
can't tell
rough.
you why they released Jermaine Curse. Why they have some of the people that they have on the roster, but not that wide receiver, who I think could be better than Danny Amendola.
Yeah, I
You
don't know.
know, I don't know.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I haven't been terribly impressed by Matt Patricia so far. We'll see.
Because all I want to see is some playoff time and some hope for the future of maybe having a championship for
Right,
our hometown team.
right. That's all we want.
Come on, just see it one time.
So, all right, real quick before we go, what do you think so far of the University of Michigan football? Do you think Harbaugh's done?
I was expecting a top five team this year.
Yeah,
But then when I heard when they played the first game of the year and they struggled a little bit, and I was like, well, it's the first game.
yeah,
And then they played Army, and Army almost beat them. Where Michigan kind of got lucky.
yeah.
I was, oh man, what's going on? But so they got Wisconsin is an awesome team. Wisconsin's always been good in the
Yep.
Big Ten. Always been really hard, tough on us to play. So it's hard to base everything off of one game.
Yeah,
We lost to Wisconsin. We lost badly. Had a really bad game. But what can we do next? I mean, I guess it's how we bounce back. This next
yeah.
game is going to tell all.
Well, right now, I mean, they have 9 turnovers through 3 games. It's bad. It looks bad
It's pretty bad.
because turnovers because it's fumbles for the most part, so it's very
You
preventable.
catch the ball
Right. It's
and
ball
hold on.
protection, and that's a discipline issue with your players.
Yeah.
Does not speak well to Harbaugh.
Which doesn't make sense for Harbaugh because he's pretty disciplined.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. I don't know what's going on, but there is a major disconnect at U of M. They're a top 8 recruiting school in the country. This shouldn't happen.
Well, yeah,
Even
we were
if
the
even
top
if
10
Wisconsin
team
beats
last
you, it
year.
shouldn't be 28-0 at halftime.
No, no, that's a major malfunction.
I don't know. And then State beat Northwestern 31-10, so they're 3-1, and Michigan's 2-1 now. So, I don't know. It was a shellacking though, so I don't know what's going to happen with them in the rankings. They were 11th coming into this game, so Wisconsin
Wisconsin
was
was
13th.
13th.
So yeah, so that will help them in that they got beat by a team that's very good anyway.
Yep.
But I think you're looking at them being ranked like 20th next week. That's just is what it is, I guess. To me, I'm watching them. They don't do anything well. They don't run the ball well. They don't pass the ball well. I don't know how they expect to do anything.
That's what they should be focusing on. I think that young quarterback Patterson, they picked him to be the starter. Now roll with it and throw the football.
Well, one of their 5-star recruits is their running back. He's fresh out of high school, and he's supposed to be this rock star. And I don't know if it's because their offensive line isn't very good or what, but
Like you said, they were pretty porous.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's not
But we'll
looking
see.
good.
It's what do we got? 6 games left.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just starting here.
Or 7 for Michigan had their bye week last week, so
That's right.
they got 7 to go. But yeah, it's I don't know. I hope so. I hope they can pull it together. NCAA is brutal. You know, one loss and you're out of championship contention usually with even one loss. So
Yep.
they can forget about that. But they could still potentially come back and win the Big Ten. I mean, they can get a good bowl game. There's lots that can still happen, like you said, if they can pull it together. And for one, stop turning the damn ball over.
Yeah,
They had
football,
three
freaking football.
they had 3 fumbles all of last year. They've had, I think, 7 or 8 through the first 3 games with 9 total turnovers in the first 3 games. You know, I mean, that is the story. That's what's going on here.
Yep.
It's hard to develop a rhythm on offense when you keep dropping the ball and the defense keeps picking it up. I mean, that's pretty much it. But I don't know, man. That's all I got for this week.
Me too. Oh, hey, I was gonna bring up. I was thinking about the Blues Brothers
Oh, yeah.
for a movie review.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's
Yeah,
your turn to pick next week, so we'll do Dirty Mary Crazy Larry and then whatever you think, man.
all right, bro.
We'll jump in there and watch it.
Sounds good.
All right, man. We'll catch you later.
All right.
Bye-bye.